I should just say the questions. Let me just pop them up again. We have a really good one from the audience. Is what is your funniest stories from being a junior? If you have any good ones. Funny, embarrassing, stuff that you fucked up on. Sorry?
Stuff that you can laugh about now.
Something that you can laugh about now, but I guess before you took it quite seriously and you panicked. You got one?
So this was in my first year as a real designer, getting paid to be a designer, when I had no idea what I was doing. I worked as an in-house designer for a business consultancy, so I wasn't at a design agency or anything like that, so we didn't have any fancy design processes in place. We had a client who worked down the road at a cafe, and she just needed a logo, so we were like, yeah, we can do that. The project went really well at the beginning. We had a really good brief. I presented 3 concepts. She chose one. It was all beautiful. And then the changes came. So she would ask for this little tweak here and this little tweak there. I was kind of left to my own devices. I don't know why, but I was. And I kind of just ran with the project and just was, giving into everything that she wanted. It got to a point where I was literally there one afternoon, and we had a meeting, and she wanted to change the logo a bit, so we sat down and we went through all the updates she wanted. I went away and did the updates, and I was like, you know what, she's just down the road, I can just go show her. So instead of scheduling a meeting, I just walked down to the cafe and was like, hey, what do you think about this logo? And she was like, it's not quite right. So she gave me another change, so I went back to the office and I did the change. I updated the logo, and then I was like, well, this is working. I went back to the cafe, showed her the logo. She was like, no, it's still not right. More changes. I went back to the office, did the changes, and this went on for 4 hours, just me back and forth to the cafe, to the office. Eventually, what she was basically doing was making me tweak the logo to the point where it would basically copy another logo. So it was just her wanting me to change this concept into something else that she had seen before. And that was the only time that the red flag went up. And I think it should have gone up a lot earlier than that. So I would not recommend doing changes on the fly and just catering to every whim. Make sure that you get in control of your projects from the beginning.
Got a question, can I pass it on to you?
Yeah, what's up?
Since we've got a lot of people from different disciplines, what aspect of your day-to-day work life now do you reckon was overlooked when you were studying?
Can you say that again?
What aspect of your day-to-day life at work do you reckon was overlooked when you were studying?
You guys heard that? So it was what aspects of your day that was overlooked while you were studying?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So what's included in your day-to-day life at work that genuinely wasn't even mentioned when you were studying?
Yeah, that's okay.
Taxes. So I kind of fell into freelancing at the end of last year, around September, and I thought that I was only going to be here for 3 or 4 months and then try to go overseas. And now I'm starting to realise I've done about 6 months of work and I haven't been putting away money for tax. So make sure you do that from the get-go the second you decide to start doing it, because I'm going to get a pretty hefty bill come July. So yeah, I guess that was never really taught at university.
I actually have another point as well. Super. Who freelances and doesn't voluntarily put their super away? That's hugely important, guys. Start doing that.
Sorry, it was something that...
I would think really clearly stipulating payment terms on invoices. Nobody likes waiting 90 days to get paid. One of my colleagues who's here had to wait outside of business days on end after contacting them every day by phone. I think he eventually took down a bucket of paint, and that was the only way we got paid. So being really upfront with payment duration and things like that is definitely something to get on top of early.
So things that weren't covered in school, well, it's like everything, pretty much. Please, like, I mean, I guess like you're taught at school, or I was taught at school, to hit the brief, you know, in a really wide kind of way, I guess. Like, so it just like would make you pass or please your lecturer or whatever. But like, it's really different, like dealing with real world people, dealing with egos. Yeah, there's a lot. And the other thing as well, Word documents. You're going to do a lot of Word templates, probably. And it sucks, but that's like a really large part of everyday graphic design, I guess. Word templates, PowerPoint templates, and it is terrible. It's really bad. And they probably should cover that at school. And I think maybe AGDA or someone, don't we have something coming up with Word something?
Yes, soon.
There's a bit of plug in there.
Yeah, it's coming up.
We'll tease it for now.
It's a teaser, but we are doing some form of...
I may have just let the cat out of the bag, but we are doing something about a Word template fucking class, so it'd be awesome. Yeah.
I only did a year of design school, so I don't know, but I know that from like having interns and through the office and sort of seeing where they're at, I know that what doesn't get covered a lot is how to present to clients and how to present really well and how to make sure that, I guess, what you're selling the client is convinced to buy. So all the little tricks and tips and strategies that you can employ to kind of get clients on your side isn't really covered at school, I don't think. I haven't been is it covered, Christy? So yeah, that's probably the one thing that I see come through that doesn't really get covered.
I'll just expand on Andrew's point about the strict sort of invoice rules, I suppose. So a good idea is to maybe have a page or two of terms and conditions when you get a new client on board, and that could cover invoicing periods, cancellation periods, the rights that you have to the work after the project is finished. There was a book that really helped me in my final year. It's called Work for Money, Design for Love by David Airy. I'd recommend it to everyone. So in that book, he pretty much gives you his terms and conditions, and you can just take those and tweak them and then send them on to your future clients, and it just sort of helps cover your bases. You know, if anything does go wrong, if people don't pay you for 90 days, you can say that that work is not yours, it's mine, like that sort of thing. So check that book out if you can. That's all I can say.
That's something to add. Just to expand maybe like a bit what Kylie was saying, something that we didn't really touch on much at school was to the critique. It's probably different like between TAFE and uni, and that rationale that you have to have in your workbook, or I don't know, whatever you guys call it, that rationale about like why you came up with the design, and, you know, being able to articulate and, you know, to sell your idea and, you know, your process is so important. I think there should be probably like a whole class on it in TAFE, because it was really not touched on, but it's so important to like, well, my everyday today, like what I do every day, it's all well and good to have a good design, but if you can't back it up with, you know, a rationale or why it works or how it works or, you know, the benefits of it, then it, you know, the client can't really see that. And it's really important to be able to, you know, put together, you know, your whole thought process and, you know, your whole plan of, you know, like the projection of like where you see this brand or like, you know, this, you know, whatever it is that you're doing. But yeah, I think that's a really important aspect.
Sorry, to add on to Sam's add-on, the other side to, I guess, the rationale of the project is like getting to know your client. So if you have a client and getting to know what they'll respond to. So in the initial briefing, you're not just listening to a brief of the project. You should be observing your client. You should be seeing what they react to and seeing how they talk about their project. That gives you a lot of information about how you should present back to them. So say, for example, if you have a client in your meeting who is like head in the clouds, just like visualizing their greatest achievement as to where their project is going to go, present it that way. So show them, if they think they're going to be on billboards, when you're presenting a logo or something to them, show them the work on billboards, because they'll really respond to that and they'll get excited and they'll probably trust you.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I guess just expanding on what we've just talked about is let me just look up the second question. We've kind of just discussed it really, but in terms of etiquette in regards to dealing with clients through emails and meetings, how do you, I guess, deal with a client who wants endless changes, and do you have who's difficult really, or do you have, I guess, restrictions in how many changes you'll do as well?
Yeah, I mean, we have a design fee that we charge up front, and that design fee will incorporate 2 revisions, and every revision after that will have an extra fee on top of it. Yeah, so that's a pretty good way, and I've forgotten what else I was going to say, so I'll pass it on.
As we briefly spoke about before, like Ryan and I were talking about offering packages to clients. So when you outline those packages to them, you can sort of state in there that there'll be 3 rounds of changes or 5 or however many you feel are like manageable, I suppose. And then anything after that, it's sort of getting a bit far, you might need to charge more for those. There's something else I was going to say. Oh, I also feel like if you sit down with a client at the start of a project to get the brief from them, get a good brief, like a range of questions, 15, 20 questions. What look are they going for? What's their target audience? What are some examples of what they like, they don't like? Try to get as much information from them as you can, so hopefully you don't go completely off track and don't have to do 50 rounds of changes, because you sort of know what direction they're wanting to go in, if that makes sense. So just get a good brief at the start to try to minimise that risk.
And I mean, if you get a client who just wants a bunch of changes, then you can refer back to that brief. And if they say, I want this thing to be blue, and in the brief they were very clear about it being orange, you can say, well, is that really hitting the brief? Is that really, what we initially talked about? And that's the point where you can actually justify really strongly charging for extra revisions. And yeah.
I found that mood boards can actually come really in handy. So before you start a project, always try to get approval on a mood board. You can have like your graphic style, you can have your typographic style in there, you can have colours, photography style, and as soon as like things start trying to go, veer left from that, then you can always say, hey, that wasn't in the mood board we discussed, this has been approved. And yeah, just like setting really firm guidelines with the client from the start is always much better. And always making sure that they're focusing on designing for their target market and not for themselves. Yeah.
Well, I think we probably have time for about 3 more questions. I'll open it to the floor if anyone wants to put their hand up for one. Oh, yeah, hey!
Hello.
You want to come?
Designer somewhere. Hello. Hi. I am also a UX designer who actually gets paid for it, which is crazy. I've only been out of uni for a year and a bit, and I'm just wondering, is there a large or small UX community in Perth that are kind of youngish? And if so, where are they? How do I meet them?
The question was, is there a UX community in Perth?
My conference, the tickets go on sale. No, there is. There's a couple of different community groups that I'm a part of that are really, really helpful. So if you jump on meetup.com, there's a couple. So there's one which is Experience Design Perth. That's really, really good. They meet, I don't know when they meet, just look at meetup.com, but that's a really, really good group. They have some really good speakers, both locally and internationally, and the community is excellent. There's also another group called Fenders. Fenders is it's odd. It's a great group, but the name relates to front-end developers in Perth. But the community in there is so large and it encompasses so many people who work in digital that there is a massively big design component to that. So getting involved in that community is also really, really good. I think also I learnt today there's a service design community.
Going to AWS like Amazon meetings.
Oh, you need to get on your meetup. So basically my conference, Fenders, and Experience Design Perth.
Thank you so much.
No, I think just like when
Do you want to do it? Right in the microphone.
Let's do it if I can reach.
If you can reach.
Alright, so you guys talk heaps about how design is quite competitive. As a freshly graduated student, what are some tips and tricks that you could advise me on to standing out amongst the crowd and really making yourself known when you might not have a lot of work backing you or nothing really super impressive on your resume or anything like that? How can you kind of convince people to give you a chance?
I've got two tips here. So the way you present your work is really important. Don't just try not to use every standard graphic burger mock-up. If you can go photograph, if you've done a packaging thing, go photograph it. Try almost present it like the actual brand would. And another weird tip that I actually got from the Design Kids conference, I think 2013, was showcase your taste in design as well. So on my resume, I actually had 5 designers that I really looked up to, because then that actually showcased that you have good taste in design. And when I got my first job, Dan was basically saying, you like Jason Little. That was a connection as well, because we both really respect Jason Little's work. And that was also just a key that a young designer in training had good taste to move forward. So yeah, that's one tip.
I'd say just keep working on passion projects and really try and doing that will build your skills as you're developing a body of work that you can show to people. And as you progress through that, obviously, it's going to get better and better, and just keep working at it and throw yourself in the deep end everywhere you can. And,
just what Andrew said, passion projects. If you don't have stuff in the portfolio that you feel you really stand behind, do it yourself, off your own bat, in your own time. Probably the most important thing is to have work that you have a rationale for and that you believe in and that is representative of your style, your thought process. I think probably there's some of the larger companies that really respect that over who you've worked for or what work you actually have out there. I think a lot of people get caught up in displaying projects that they've done real world kind of stuff, but is not really their taste or their style that's been kind of pulled in a separate way than you would normally agree to go by the client. So passion projects is really, really important. And I think the thing is as well, when I first started interviewing, when I was fresh out of TAFE, people would say to me this is what we do here. And I was I know exactly what you do. And they were like, what? You know what we do? No one knows, we've had people in here before and they don't know our work, they don't know what we do. It seems like a really small thing, but, that's kind of what they look for, that you have a genuine interest in, the work that they do, that, the work that they produce, and, that you actually want to be there. And don't be afraid to be really, really enthusiastic, because I was peeing my pants when I was, interviewing at 3:30. I was like, oh my god.
you know, but they were like, you know, oh, that's great, you know, because there's like a lot of people that come in here and just like, well, you know, I don't know what you do, and, you know, like, yeah, maybe you want a job, you know, like, I wouldn't give those people a job, you know, like, so it's, you know, it's good to show that, you know, you're keen and that you're aware and that, you know, you're, you know, applied with them, like, for a purpose. Yeah. I would say just don't compete. Like, don't worry about competition or anything like that. Like, when I do my design work, I don't worry about anyone else. Like, I don't worry about what the next person is doing. In fact, like, I look towards them and like, what are they doing that I can learn from? Like, use them as like muses and inspirations, not as people that you're up against, because design is not really like, it can, like, yeah, it is kind of competitive, but there's so much work out there. Like, you don't need to be pitting yourself against other people. So just do your work and do what feels right for you. Yeah, and just put yourself out there, really. Yeah.
Not much to add, just that, as I said before, like, I'm a big advocate for like trying to get your foot in the door, interning, approaching agencies that you like the look of and saying, hey, in my final year, like, can I come in half a day a week, 1 day a week, just unpaid, like, whatever you need to do to just build up that experience and just get in the door. I probably got quite lucky because the agency I first worked at actually found my profile on AGDA and they thought I was a freelancer, so they said, hey, we're super busy, can you come in and freelance? And I said, oh, actually I'm a student, but can I come in 1 day a week for free and just see what happens? And that, like, I did get quite lucky, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I just believe in sort of approaching people that you might want to work for, and just trying to make those connections and get your foot in the door while you're still at uni if you can, like, to get ahead.
Well, I'll open it up to the floor again. If not, I have a couple of questions I can ask. Does anyone know? Yeah, you got a question?
This is mainly for like the people that have come out of like university and stuff like that, because I want to go into university because apparently most of the jobs like that are more corporate kind of ask for a uni degree. I just want to know like what's it like compared to that, well, from what I've searched on Seek, okay. But yeah, what's it like in uni compared to like TAFE and like just freelancing and stuff like that?
I might give this to Rihanna first, so she's done both.
So yes, I've done both with Hayley. We went through it all together. I found TAFE to be very practical and hands-on, and to be honest, it probably threw me out into the industry more because they had like the mentorship programs, which I got in with Studio Lost and Found for a year and sort of was mentored by Daniel there. TAFE was probably more focused on the end result and what you presented as a final project rather than the theory behind it when I was there anyway. So then I went to Curtin for a year and they wanted like a 60-page book on your thought process and your ideas and research and like development, which I found really hard coming from TAFE. That was just like my experience back in 2012, 2013. I think both TAFE and uni are on par. Like, I don't think one's better than the other. My first boss was quite old and old school, so he personally valued like a uni degree, but there's other people out there that wouldn't as much, I suppose. I don't know if that helps at all, but I found them, TAFE and uni, both good in different ways, I suppose. It worked for me because my boss liked uni degrees, but I personally got a lot more out of TAFE. The projects I did at TAFE were better, and then I was obviously only at Curtin for a year because I had my advanced diploma, so it was a bit of a whirlwind for me at Curtin. Sort of went in, did a lot of theory, a lot of like big booklets on work, just sort of two different paths. I don't know, can anyone else add to that at all? Like,
Yeah, no one cares where you went. Like, it's, well, in my experience, it's never been, you know, people don't even look at my resume. They don't care where I've been or what I've done or where I've studied or what degree I have. It's all about the portfolio. It's all, like, every single place that I, like, maybe it's different for these guys, but every single place that I've been in, it's all about my portfolio. They don't care what I've done to get that portfolio. You know, the education behind that, it all depends on that. So, I mean, like, I've applied for jobs that, you know, have, you know, wanted, I mean, like, with Turner Design, they wanted someone with 4 years experience. I had about 7 months, and I, you know, suck it and see, like, just do it, you know. You know, there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of experience, but aren't necessarily better than, you know, can design better than you can. You know, they might be more, you know, they might be quicker, they might be, like, more proficient with their thought process, but, you know, aesthetic-wise and, like, the end result, you know, there's no guarantee it's going to be better than your work. So, yeah, suck it and see, you know, like, just put it out there. As far as education, like, whatever you have to do to get to that, you know, level where you feel comfortable, and where you can, you know, talk about your work and you can, you know, display your work. You know, like, it's all up to you, like, how you get there, but, you know, I think the end result is your portfolio. I've never ever had anyone look at my resume, seriously, never.
Key aspect there, you actually got the job there. She mentioned that she only had 7 months experience, she actually worked.
I think we were just going to ask, this is very topical actually, raw files. What do you do with a client who wants their raw files? Have you had experience like that in the past? Do you give it to them, or do you charge a bit extra? Anyone? No.
Charge it.
Well, in terms of me, I've had experience, and general consent is maybe charge a little bit extra, but you also have to look into font licensing and image licensing, which can be a bit of a pain to give them everything. That one's a tricky one.
Well, I've never had this, but if, I think Jessica Hirsch has written a really good blog article on it called The Dark Art of Pricing. Yeah. If you ever come across this, I would recommend reading that article, because she does go into how you can structure your pricing around providing raw files and licensing and things like that.
Well, we probably have time for one more question if anyone wants to open it up to the floor, if anyone has one. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you better babes.
Yeah. I just want to know, what do you think makes a really good portfolio, and how can you show what you have?
The question was what makes a really good portfolio?
Well, for me, I really focused on, like, I knew I wanted to do a lot of brand work, so I guess I went all in on the, like, master of one, not jack of all trades, you know? So yeah, I really focus on my branding, making sure, like, you really roll out the idea to its full potential, and then present it really beautifully as well. Like, a great idea present terribly just kind of ends up looking terrible. And I honestly think, like, a lot of my work coming out of uni, which I look back at now, and I'm like, oh my god. But I presented the work to such a high standard that it actually helped, you know, it just showcased my passion in that a little bit more. Yeah, that's kind of my tip there. Yeah, I've definitely gone down that route as well. I'm really passionate about typography and sort of hand lettering, so all of my projects within my portfolio are structured around what I want to be doing. And yeah, you've just got to treat it as a product itself and present all of your work in the best light you can.
So you're at TAFE or uni?
I'm at TAFE right now.
TAFE,
yeah.
So the good thing, I guess, about TAFE is you can kind of mix some projects and really focus on others. Yeah, and that's what I found. Like, I kind of just like tried to really apply it. You can't really apply yourself to like all the briefs and then all be great and they all be in your portfolio. Like, it's not going to happen, or something's going to suffer, or you're going to suffer, or something. Don't do that. But but yeah, what I found was like, like I really concentrated on, trying to like, push, like what I was doing, and, like the lecturer said it was good, and I was like, no, it sucks, and like, I want to make it better, and like it'll pass, but, like it's not where I want it to be, so I kept pushing it, but I couldn't do that with all my projects. But I guess the result is, like a year and a half out, I still have, like what I did at TAFE was, like for me, like the work that I can stand behind the most, because it's not affected by clients, because they will distort what you want to do. So like it, being at TAFE and like having these projects and, like not really having, I mean, you have a brief, but not really having a client, like it's a really, really good opportunity to like, really push yourself and like see what you want to do, and, get really, really happy with a project, and, like at the end be able to, even if it's like 4 projects or 5 projects, to be able to stand behind that and go, this is why I did it, I fucking really like it, and I believe in it, and this is me, I guess that, like with the portfolio, like that's what you're doing. This is me, this is what I want to do, this is, my thought process, like this is, this is me. So yeah, it's really important, I think, like at TAFE or uni, like you can really take that opportunity to like, really zero in on like a few projects and like really, really refine it. Yeah, so that's probably my advice for that. Yeah.
I guess I'm speaking directly to sort of digital portfolio, like projects for digital projects. I would recommend not putting 10 different projects in there that are like really vague. Focus on a few, or like focus on like 5, and just really get into the detail. Like explain your process, explain why you did some things. Like obviously don't write like 2-page essay on the whole project, but definitely expand on your process. So show some of the journey that you went on to get to the end result. That is far more valuable than seeing 10 projects of pretty pictures. The number of portfolios I've seen that are just like picture after picture with no thought behind them. I'm like, did you even do this work? I don't know. So yeah, making sure that you make it clear that you actually did the work and put some thought into it and had some intention behind everything that you put in your portfolio.
I'll just add a quick point. As Kylie said, I think it is important to actually include a bit of text about how you got to that result that you're seeing in your portfolio. I didn't, but I found that at our grad show at TAFE, the people that did put more of an explanation in with each project got more attention. And another good idea is maybe you have your portfolio there at your exhibition, and also like a little fold up brochure that people can take away with them. So you might have business cards, and then you might have like an A3 displaying some of your key projects that folds up, and the person can like take that away and remember what your work was, because they're looking at 60 odd portfolios at each show. Like it is hard to remember. So I did find that like the little fold up takeaway things were like a good refresher. That makes sense. So yeah.
Sorry, can I just keep going on for a bit? I will. Yeah, with the portfolio, I completely forgot what the hell I was going to say. Come see me after and I'll tell you. I can't remember right now.
You're hilarious. I guess the last question I was just thinking was, I guess a lot of people here are about to graduate, have graduated, don't have much experience in terms of working in industry. So how would you go ahead and get work experience, mentorships? Would you go straight to the person, or is it organisations you can go through?
You up?
You've just got to put yourself out there. No one's going to hand opportunities to you. Just get in contact with studio directors and ask them to have a look at your portfolio and get feedback, and try and open a door into internship or a bit of mentoring through that way. You've just got to jump on every opportunity, because there's a few out there but not many, and yeah, the hungrier you are, the more opportunities you're going to get, basically.
I guess, yeah, just like seek out feedback. I mean, I'm by no standard like an industry leader or anything, but I've definitely been where you guys have been. So, I've gotten a few cool jobs in my time. So if you ever want to send me an email, like feel free. I'm more than happy to take a look at your work, give you some advice. Yeah, just like make sure that you put yourself out there in the best possible light. And you can try to connect. Like, don't just send a cold email like, dear so and so. Like, talk about a project that you like of theirs, or just something that can kind of separate you from the crowd. And yeah, anyone you can feel free to send me an email and we can have a chat.
No, that's what I was going to say, and it kind of ties into this as well. Sorry, the AGDA portfolio review. So it's usually towards like the end of the year. I think we're going to try and have it in August.
Yes. No, that's September.
September. For me, that was really, really important. Like I had a whole heap of work. I didn't really know what I wanted to put in my portfolio, so I just gathered all my, work. And the moment I took it there, and having to face, like people that in the industry, and just even the thought of having to show them like what I had, clutched in my freaking hand, I knew instantly what I wanted to show them and what I didn't. So that. Come to the AGDA portfolio review. Like it's really and that even without the feedback, well for me, I instantly knew like what I didn't want to show, what wasn't cohesive. But you will find people who say, put this in, put that in, don't put that in, and people have different views. But if it's something that you can agree with and something that you can stand behind, then yeah. So there's stuff in my portfolio that people said don't put that in, but I'm still glad I did. So
just adding to the AGDA portfolio review. So you don't actually have to have a completed folio. You could just have a couple of ideas that you're thinking about putting in your folio. It could just be feedback on a project that you're working on recently. It doesn't have to be something like a hard set in stone folio. They're also great to go. I actually got offered work experience at my AGDA portfolio review at Brand Agency, and that was a great way of meeting industry one-on-one as well. Just thought I'd let you know.
what was the question, Haley?
Mentorship and work experience.
Okay, cool. On mentorship, same with Ryan. Feel free to contact me and email me as much as you like. I am very open to chatting to students and juniors and everything like that. The other thing is internships. A lot of agencies don't have set internship programs. They just don't have time to create them. So don't just email them and be like, hey, I just want to come and do an internship and do work experience, and then end your email, because they're going to go, what can we do for you? We don't know. We don't have time. We can't do this. So if you can tell them what you want to get out of it or what you want to learn, then that's really helpful, because what they can do is they'll be like, yeah, sure, we have people who know about that thing that you want to learn, people who can help you with that. We can give feedback on the things that you want to learn about. That really helps agencies and workplaces to recognise that they can actually be of use to you, because I think a lot of the fear is, you come in and we won't have time to mentor you, or we won't have time to help you out. So if you give us something to work with, then that's really helpful.
I should have also mentioned that AGDA has a mentorship program, and that will be in August, hopefully. So what you do is you submit your folio, and we'll match you up to an industry professional, and from there you get to work out what you want to do with the industry professional. It might just be feedback, it might be work experience for like a week or once a month or something like that, but that'll be happening midway this year as well. Well, on that note, we might end things now, so can I have a round of applause for our panelists?